In a town 58,000 strong, there moved a foreigner. He was a Jewish man from the ocean. Yet, he traveled to a land with no water to find a new life. He arrived upon plains so big, you could only call it the middle of nowhere. Now, live from a land so vast, this is his cast.
Humanity.
Cowboys, cowgirls, studs, mares, and farmers of all ages. This is the Middle of Nowhere cast with your host, Robby.
I have a couple bills I want to talk about, but I'm also curious. Just you were born and raised in Amherst, right?
Yes. So this is downtown Amherst. So you are pretty much in the old part of Amherst, Ohio, which is probably about a town of now 12,000. And that's the city limits. There's Amherst Township that makes up the school district that surrounds most of Amherst. So you have Lorraine on the north side of Amherst.
Sure.
And then you have townships going around it. Most of it is Amherst Township, and that makes up the Amherst School District. And with that, you're looking at a bigger population, probably closer to 16, 17 maybe.
Oh, okay.
Would be my guess. I don't have the exact numbers. But.
Do you guys feel like you're part of Cleveland, or is it more, this is more on the outside?
No, that's a good question. I can't speak for everybody here, but you have your Cleveland Browns fans, your Guardians fans, your Cavs fans. So the television market is Cleveland market. So so before streaming and everything that comes through that way,
yes,
and everybody's watching everything on Netflix and Hulu and what have you. We were mainly Cleveland market. We could pick up sometimes every once in a while a Toledo station will come in when the stars aligned. And
do you have an allegiance towards Cleveland or Toledo?
Oh, I'm born and raised in this town. Yeah. Left not only left the town, but left the state and did some traveling and lived out of state for a few years. But yeah, I would say I'm probably more of the Cleveland vibe, what's going on. Went to Bowling Green State University after I transferred out of the community college here. And that is right south of Toledo, about 30 minutes. So, Bowling Green, where I went to college, would be absolutely the Toledo market in the Toledo area. So,
I prefer Cleveland over Toledo, I think. But back when you guys had the RNC here in 2016, I think it was. My mom's an artist, so she did an art installation in downtown Cleveland.
For it?
Yes, for it. We did that, and then we did the DNC in Philly.
Yes.
Yes, which was both pretty fun. Cleveland was way better to do it in though, because in Cleveland they put us. It was called Vote for the Good Life, and we had people come, and it was pretty much just like a talking couch for the city. Okay. And we were right in the middle of like everything, right downtown. And then in Philly, they put us like somewhere on the outskirts. But being in Cleveland for that like whole week was awesome.
Yeah, downtown Cleveland's nice. It's coming back. I got to give the flowers to places like Pittsburgh, where we're going through the same thing they did. Old steel town, industrial town with an industrial base, right along the river. We got the Cuyahoga River and the lake, and they were able to bring that back. And I think that with our Mayor Bibb in place, he's doing a really good job of trying to bring that same resurgence, if you will, here in Cleveland, and it's coming along nicely. It'll be interesting to see how the movement of the stadium, the Cleveland Browns Stadium, off the water, open that up for development.
I wanted to ask you about that because I heard something about how the people of Cleveland and Ohio are paying for that, but the stadium's keeping all the profits. Did I hear that correctly?
Pretty much.
What's going on there?
That's a mess. So we jump right into so first off, Cleveland Browns is the franchise is either.
Condolences for having to be a Browns fan.
Yes.
First off,
and I would say that's the most Browns fan. So I've become a Cleveland sports team fan after living here for so long. Family grew up. Detroit fans, to be honest with you. We were all Tigers and Lions and Red Wings and Pistons fans growing up for sports, and then just became excited about the Cleveland market when you had, your Bernie Kosar, kind of move, and that was a good time, but they really never got past the first round or two of the playoffs, and forget it. So yeah, being a Browns fan is tough. The dysfunctional Browns ownership right now, in my humble opinion, is in that they're just making decisions that are not providing success in the sport.
In the sport.
Yeah.
But about the piece about like the new stadium and the funding, like it's happening in Kansas City too, and like everywhere in Buffalo it's happening. It's like a trend where the city pays for the stadium, but the city doesn't. It seems like it makes the city worse wherever the stadium goes.
Well, I think the data and the research is there showing that public tax dollar investment in stadiums is never a good ROI. And what I mean by that is what happens is stadiums take such investment for upkeep. And of course, because it's an entertainment venue, it's got to look and feel and be the nicest of the venues. So you're constantly in there remodeling it, and it's always on the taxpayer dollar. But the organization makes the profits off of all the venues that come in there. So so that's where we're going to pay to host you in the stadium, but you're going to
doing anything about that at the state level to try and get some of those profits back from the stadium?
Well, of course they're like, hey, we're going to provide jobs if you build this new stadium. This new stadium is supposed to be a bigger footprint. It's supposed to, with a domed stadium, it's supposed to be able to bring in events outside of football.
That would be nice.
Yeah, which would be nice.
More than 8 weekends a year.
The thing is, though, is we have locations for a lot of events. Can we put major events somewhere downtown without the stadium in those numbers? Probably not. But what may that be? A soccer championship or game? I'm not seeing that. We're going to get that return on investment as taxpayers, but they're going to be able to make more profits off of that. Now, how did the state of Ohio do it? The state of Ohio and other entities got together and said, we're going to fund the Cleveland, gave them some money, what have you, and there was a deal there to give enough money to the Haslam's, which are the owners, to move the stadium and build a covered stadium by the airport.
Okay. What's happening to the old one?
The old one, I guess the Haslam's have agreed to pay a certain dollar amount, and if it goes over, up to a certain dollar amount, if it goes over, they'll negotiate the tear down and cleaning up of the site.
Oh, okay. So gone, probably new buildings, new whatever.
So then they're gonna have a chance for new development, which is nice. Bringing access and different opportunities down to the lake for development. Maybe that'll help with the convention center. I don't know. There's a real nice convention center there, but it's just stuck behind the stadium, and it kind of doesn't get the view, doesn't get the access to that lakefront. The convention doesn't. So a lot of times when you have a convention center that sits right on a lake, you're going to have a little bit, and has access to restaurants and different things along the lake would be probably more.
Was there a push or anything to get more of the profits from the stadium back to the citizens of Cleveland?
I hadn't seen that. If there was, I was unaware of it. That really never.
Was that just like, why was it? Did you not?
Because
feel
ownerships
worthwhile?
won't do it. The ownerships won't do it.
Oh.
I mean, they want the profits. They got to pay for these absurd salaries that
True. But then why did you? But you gave money, but you didn't ask for anything back.
Oh no.
Or I'm not saying. I mean, I don't know what you specifically did.
Right. So what the Haslam's wanted was an influx of money, just from different entities, as much as they could get, to help with the investment of building and developing this area around the airport to put this covered stadium in. The agreement was they would help get the other one off the lake. There's no agreement, to my knowledge, in place to share any of the profits. The tax agreement, that is something that I'd love to see in detail, like how much of the taxes were tipped or moved into the infrastructure instead of actually into the local government's hands to use for services, because you're going to need more police and infrastructure all around that.
Yeah, and are the Haslam's going to help out with that too? It feels like why it feels like Cleveland's getting screwed on this one a little bit.
Again, the data has shown across the nation that this is not the best investment of tax dollars, because what happens is you're on the hook for upgrades and fixes and renovations and things like that, and that's always on the taxpayer.
And what government body was responsible for this investment? Was it City of Cleveland or was it State of Ohio?
Well, I believe the City of Cleveland County, I think the Haslams went to the City of Cleveland. Then there is a Cuyahoga County government organization, it's the County Commission.
Yep.
I forget how many sit on that. And then the State of Ohio, the General Assembly. And the General Assembly said, we're sitting on this unclaimed funds. A lot of people don't know they have money, and it's hoops you got to jump through to try to reclaim your money.
One of those deals, yeah.
Yeah, so the bank, you have money that's in your name or that was left to you or that was owed to you by entities for whatever reason. They will, after so much time of unclaimed, they go to the state, and the state holds them, and then the state borrows against them and does different things. And pretty much makes money off of people's unclaimed funds.
That's pretty
invests
nice.
it.
Seems
smart move. Invests it, and it sits there. And as people come to realize it and claim it, they can take it out, what have you. Well, the General Assembly where I work, the legislators decided, a majority of them that voted for the budget. In the budget, they decided to give $600 million of the unclaimed funds to the Haslams for their build of this new stadium. So it's $600 million, the taxpayer, that's really citizens of Ohio's money. These are Ohio citizens that have this money.
And but the Republican-controlled state legislature, they seem like money focused and driven at every turn, and this seems like a horrible investment.
Well, if you're,
I'm trying to square it in my head.
So, a while back, we've been plagued with scandals.
Yes.
That's just, Ohio is trying to compete with like Nevada, New Jersey, Illinois for the most corrupt state in the union.
Good.
That seems to be our claim. And what we've come to see is a lot of our leadership in state government is taking care of those who are donating to them, helping them, get elected.
Yeah.
So this is kind of, I think it's a little bit dirty. It's a little icky, the way this has gone down.
Got it.
And I'm not a big believer in making these deals behind the scene.
Yeah.
And not in the best interest of the citizens. Now, one of the problems I had with this $600 million investment was there was no guarantee that where the the labor force was going to come from.
Oh, that's wild.
So there was they could have brought skilled trades from South Carolina or Arizona or wherever, Wyoming, and they could have said, come on out here, non-labor, non-prevailing wage.
Whoa.
And that wasn't guaranteed in this. And that's something that I would have wanted to see, is to make sure that we're putting local people to work, paying a prevailing wage. And to do that, a lot of the union skilled trades and a lot of the laborers would be able to benefit from that. So in other words, Ohioans would be able to benefit from that. We've had many jobs where the prevailing wage is not in place, that they're bringing in labor from outside of the state so that they could keep their costs down and pay, in my belief, subpar pay for the work.
To do all that stuff.
Just to get around the prevailing wage that unions in Ohio have said this is the going rate to give a dignified middle class lifestyle for these skilled tradespeople.
Sure.
So that to me, since there was no guarantee, that also had me turned off about how this went down. Do I believe that the state can give investment and support the development here in Ohio? Yes. I just want to make sure it's done properly, above board, and that Ohioans benefit from it. And there wasn't that guarantee around this deal. And it's not just the $600 million for the Haslam. There's over $1 billion total for all the sports venues that are getting investment in Cincinnati and other areas. So, yeah. Now, Cleveland, don't get me wrong, Cleveland's building trades usually are able to, the skilled trades, the labor unions are able to get their workers the work. They're able to work that into the deal and contract, usually. But there's no guarantee, and so do we need development up in Northeast Ohio? Yes. This is going into my 8th year, my final year of this General Assembly and of my time in the House, because we have term limits. So I'm term limited.
Oh, really? Is that why you're switching over to the Senate?
Yes, that's why I'm going to. Yeah, that's why I'm on the ballot. I will be on the ballot. Obviously, the ballot's not set yet, but I'll be on the ballot to run for Senate. It'll cover Lorain County and most of Huron County, which is the county right next to us.
Right on.
Yeah. So, so my goal is to continue to try to, push for, a very skilled workforce, high quality education, and supporting our veterans and safety service is important for me.
Can we talk about education for a second?
Yeah, we could definitely leave the Haslam, the Haslams who have gotten very political, which doesn't help either.
No, probably not.
So what do you got? Education. What do you got for education?
Well, the Senate Bill 1, which passed the Higher Education Act. I don't know what its technical name was, but
I think it was called the Lowering of Education in Ohio and Chasing, students out.
That's what it seems like. What's for me and everybody else who isn't as familiar with Ohio? What's going on here?
That was a very large bill.
Yeah.
So there's a lot in that bill that, in a nutshell, Jerry Serino, the author of it, I believe he was a board member for one of the smaller, maybe a community college or a small college up in Northeast Ohio. And he wanted to run the school like a business, which you do have to have business focus and investment and clarity when you're doing it. But he believed that there were two problems, and this is kind of from his testimony.
Okay, yeah.
He kind of made me feel like he was upset with how much money higher ed's getting. Mm-hmm. And then the product that's coming out of it was too liberal for him.
Got it.
So the people were too free of thinkers. They were leftist, or they were too liberal, or what have you. So those were two parts of the argument of this bill. It's he believed that teachers, professor unions, and professors had too much power, just like they believe that teachers have too much power in education.
Shouldn't they, though?
I think they should have a massive amount of influence. But I'm a little biased. I've taught both at the high school and at the higher ed level. So I'm a little biased and say that, we do have this is funny how we would say this. We have a better understanding of our curriculum than board members do.
You would think so.
Than senators do, than legislators do.
You guys are the experts in the field.
That's what we're supposed to be. That's the training we did, the knowledge we gained.
Why is it, do you think, that all I won't say all, but most higher education institutions lean so left? Like, why is that? Because that definitely is the case. Outside of Liberty University, I'm not sure of many.
Or Hillsdale. Mm-hmm. Or Claremont. Or I could go on.
University of Chicago, somewhat, maybe.
Yeah, well, and I hear that's changing a little bit. University of Chicago is being a little more liberal than it is.
I think so. Well, because it's like, it feels like you have to be as a university now.
So when we say liberal, we just talk about freedom, right? Liberty, liberal, freedom.
That's sure. I think that it has a different connotation, but if we can strive to define it as that.
If you want to like start with just basic liberal, the idea of liberty, colleges are meant for people to think freely.
Yes.
And one of the things that what makes us humans better than the mammals that surround us is that we can improve and manipulate the world around us to better our situation.
Yeah, sure.
And we can do that so much more. One, because we have fingers and we can think through, our minds can process, and there's so many things that allow us to manipulate the world around us. And one of the things that colleges and higher ed, and just that idea of thinking through problems and finding solutions and being creative about it, and not putting guardrails on where you're going to go with your research or your thoughts or your arguments, and really fleshing out the problem, and then how do we solve it given the physical confines that we have and the limitations that even we as humans have. That scares a lot of people who are very conservative in their view. God put us here. There's very strict constructs in society.
Yes.
Men are men, women are women. This is this. Here a higher power had told us through certain people that through Christ and then through his disciples and the people that have heard God's word and then wrote about it, and we leave it up to them for thousands of years ago to know exactly how we should be thinking through our lives today.
Yes, that has a place though. If we're allowing all thoughts.
I think history does, and I think it's important that we try to understand why. Why, if there is a higher power, and I believe there is, but I'm not sure how engaged that higher power is with us right now.
Yes. Okay. I don't know exactly what you mean by that, but
well, I think that we all have to try to understand how we came about, and that's very hard for us to do. And so we have to have faith. And some people in their religious views have a belief that a higher power have put us here and have given us the freedom of thought and the ability to do right and do wrong, and to carry out our lives so that one day we will return to where we came.
I went to Quaker school when I was a kid. And
how was that?
It was awesome. I love the education, and the Quakers believe that the higher power, so to speak, they call it the light, and they say that the light is within all of us.
Okay.
So just by very essence of you being,
right,
you are the higher power. You carry it out in your daily actions. Like we all hold each other in that same divine space.
Nice.
I don't know, when you say, I like that thinking of a higher power. Because it takes it less from like a pulpit that we have to talk through a conduit and what they are going to translate for us. It's like no. We all get a say.
Very democratic.
It is very democratic. They have one of their main tenets is equality, and like women have always been an equal part of Quaker religious society. They have no clergy because they don't believe in anybody being above anyone else. Their churches are square rooms where everyone faces each other. There's no bema or whatever. What do Christians
versus like my Christian faith is Catholic, so that's very structural, very top down, very hierarchical. Which to execute something structurally, it allows for expansion and allows for systems to be implemented, but again, like you said, it starts to bring about a hierarchical system. Yeah. And that makes it completely contrary to what the Quakers. It sounds like
it seems
that's interesting.
It seems problematic when it doesn't have to be problematic, but it seems like you open yourself up to problems when you have a door or like a blockade or a stoppage point between you and the thing that we're all trying to be.
Yeah.
Like when someone who is not that next higher power is able to put up a bridge and say, this is what you have to do to get through to the one undisputed truth. Like, why are you saying that truth?
Well, and I hear many Christians that say, what would Jesus do? Like, how if we act and we carry ourselves like Jesus, we will find the way to heaven. Mm-hmm. But in America, I don't see a lot of actions mirroring their words.
I see more actions of people using those words to justify the exact opposite of what those words are saying.
Absolutely.
It's like a weaponization of what could be the best thing on the earth. Yeah. Who doesn't want to love thy neighbor? Then you know what I mean?
Yes.
Who doesn't want to welcome immigrants into our community? Who like he's only preaching good, and it's not.
And then they turn around and they show up at church on Sunday, and then on Monday they're slamming immigrants or U.S. citizens that look like an immigrant into the pavement, and
exactly, yeah.
And then they. So how do you square that? That's for me. I watch a lot that goes on in the General Assembly, and I mean we've got the chairs of the opposite party. I mean. We're praying in before every committee. I mean, we've got...
Isn't government supposed to be secular, though? Or non-secular?
I think there's got to be a little bit of... Now, you want to talk about putting the wall there, that's probably a good way to do it because you don't know how you should approach that asking for grace. And do you ask for grace? In some religions, others say you bring it within yourselves, and and so forth. But they'll turn around, and this is really what turned my stomach many times over the last couple of GAs, is we would have a prayer, and sometimes they would take 3 or 4 minutes to go ahead and give us, and that's a long time when you're standing there getting ready to start.
Oh, true, yeah.
Committee. Like if you think about it, you're standing there. And
someone's going off.
Somebody's going off and telling everybody how they should be accepting God based on whoever's giving the prayer. And that's fine. And I need all the grace I can get. I want as much divine support as I can get.
Sure.
Because I have a responsibility as 1 in 99 in the House to make decisions that are going to affect 12 million people in one way or the other. Mm-hmm. Here in
that's a big weight on your shoulders.
Yes. So I'm good with that. But where I have a problem is when 10 minutes later into testimony, they are doing everything to the antithesis of what Jesus would do when they're handling proponents or opponents of a bill that is this culture war bill that says that you're less than human because you're gay. Or because, it baffles me.
It doesn't make any sense.
So you sat there and asked for grace, and you prayed, and you let us have our hearts and minds, and then you turn around and you are un-Christ-like, and you act in a just hateful bullying spirit. I'm like, outside of flipping the tables, I don't remember in the temple, I don't recall any of my readings, where Jesus was over here bullying people at the well.
Yeah, so let's get into all the culture war stuff, I guess.
Right.
I've been leading a charge to just make politics boring again. Like,
can we just get the work done?
Yeah, like just make sure there's no potholes. That's just can the police do their jobs well? Like, is the heat on in my house? Do I have power? Like, can we just stop caring about religious stuff? I don't care if you're gay and you hate gay people. Like, that's fine. Just like keep it out of everybody's rules. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like,
yes.
So okay,
not a tough thing to do, right?
Well, there's I don't know, 66 of your colleagues at least seem to think it is a tough thing to do.
So I forget his name. One of the singers of Korn put out a statement. Like, he's gotten very philosophical, and Korn's a pretty heavy band, if you remember the old.
I've listened to the music, but I've never seen them.
And he wrote that the reason that Trump got elected is because he says so much hateful things and allows for people to be so hateful in so many different areas that they see that one thing that they've been given permission to feel like they are justified in believing that you are lesser because you're different race, different ethnicity, different gender, because of where you worship or don't worship, because of who you love or don't love, and he's given permission to hate.
Yeah.
And he's allowed us to be our worst selves. And that, to me, is not what government should be doing.
Yeah, I agree. So then, I mean, what is your response when you're on the floor and, like, for example,
sure, go ahead.
They passed I guess I could say you, but I'm sure you actually, I know you voted no on this one, but you can't have tampons in a men's restroom anymore in Ohio. Yeah. First off, I've never in my life, did you know of any instances where that's actually a thing? I've personally, I was in college, was the first time I realized there was even tampons in women's restrooms, and at that, there's not even that many. But,
yeah, right.
So it's like, why are we doing
never
that?
stocked, right?
Yeah, exactly. Never.
The container's there, but never stopped.
Exactly. Like, how does that make you feel when you're actually having to spend time debate this on the floor of the
Well,
House?
if I have to run in there because I cut my finger and I'm bleeding, it would be nice to have something like that to wrap around my finger and, to soak up the blood. But seriously, the idea that we can bring this issue that is hard to understand for people, that doesn't feel right or gives them this ick feel, that we have to keep rubbing it in their face. We're not, listen, trans people and the LGBTQ community is really, in most times, now some areas they are, but in most places, they're not out there cramming it in your face. They're just saying, allow me to be me.
I was talking to a trans man 2 days ago at ICE protest, and he said, I just want to be able to live my life. Like,
yes.
Honestly, stop
just
focusing on me.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
like, stop talking about it.
Yes.
He was getting sick of it.
Yes.
And it's just like, dude, whatever.
And I think that the people that are putting it in everybody's face are the Republicans that want to make it an issue. So the idea is, let's use what you don't understand and the fear behind it that could come from that ignorance to gaslight a situation and make you uncomfortable so that you won't be okay with that person's identity or behavior or what have you.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then when I hear that, I think on the other end, like, so if that's where the Republicans are coming from, and then the Democrats, they obviously have a messaging problem because this isn't a very complex thing for people to understand.
It's freedom.
So
it's allowing people to have justice under the law regardless of who they love.
But how do you make people hear that and understand that, is what I'm saying.
Well, I don't know if you can make people do anything anymore unless you're...
Well, certainly you can make people hate because people are doing that.
Or allow people to hate. Yes.
Sure.
And I think to give them permission to hate. I guess if you put fear into people, they could get defensive or they could get... they can be poked, I guess, and to a point where maybe they would act on that hate. But right now, I believe that social media and everything that's going on around it and just the flood of nonsense that's being put out there has got people questioning who they are and their value. And because of that, this is just me taking my interpretation of what I see. many, not just our youth, but even adults, are like, what is my value anymore? Like, how much value do I have being a middle-aged, I'll just take myself, middle-aged, maybe I'm older than middle-aged now. Things are growing fast.
I don't know.
Things are
How old
going
you?
fast. I'm 29 for the 27th time. So
I like that.
so I'm a little bit past the middle. But anyway, I'm just an old straight white Catholic male and married with a couple kids. Like the normal, just the normal everyday person. Ohio.
Yeah.
Anybody, right?
Boom.
Well, the problem is that used to be something that, I have a job, I'm raising kids, my wife and I are together. I mean, just kind of the 1950s, the concept of let's go back, to make America great again was to go back to the 50s. And that was, there were some good times there. What they forget to say is that taxes were at 70%, unions were strong in making good money for the labor that they were giving. But the problem is there were many people that were, in my opinion, disenfranchised from that opportunity to live the American dream because they weren't white, they weren't male, they weren't straight, they weren't Christian, whatever. And so therefore they were discriminated against, they were left out of opportunity. They found that they couldn't get justice, true justice under the law. And so they pushed for their rights. From women to minorities to those that are maybe weren't Christian, that were of different faith or no faith at all.
I wonder if the motto should be like, let's make America great again, but for everybody this time.
Yeah, I think. So I sit on the board of an organization called Dems 101, and it was this idea by a gentleman from east side of Cleveland, from Shaker, I believe, but ended up living his life, serving his country in different ways, from the military to government sector work, and then became an author, and he wrote a book, and he said he got with a group of people across the United States, and he said, what does it mean to be an American? And what does it mean to be a Democrat? Because, starting with FDR Democrats on through Kennedy to, Clinton era and so forth, where has the Democratic Party's beliefs or values gone, and what do we value most as a Democrat? And so he wrote this book. It's real easy. It's a primer, but it really brought a little history behind it, and then said, this is really what we need to go back and focus on. Like you said, we have a messaging problem. I think we forgot about our values. Not because Democrats are soulless Democrats, that have no values and all this nonsense that the right is barfing out. But truly, just like, why would you be a Democrat? So that was one of the questions in the book. That why are you a Democrat?
Well, what's your answer to that?
And so I got this book, and it was given to me, and I read it real quick, and I like to read it. And I said, you know what? This is pretty good because it starts the question. It's not really intellectually deep. It's a couple hundred pages or whatever, hundreds of pages. It's
a lot for most people. Nobody
for
reads it anymore.
Yeah, it's sad, but it's sad. But yeah, that's true.
I'm a victim of it too.
It's a good one. But anyway, so what they did is they broke it down into three things: freedom, justice, and opportunity. There are other things that go into it, but I found that simplifies it enough to start the conversation with everyday checked out Americans.
Freedom, justice, opportunity.
Freedom, justice, and opportunity. And then the tagline from the book and from this group effort under this author was, a just society as long as it takes.
Huh. Oh, I like that.
Yeah. And I said, you know what? This is good. Perfect? Maybe not, but good. It's a great starter. It's a great beginning discussion to ask people. So I'm like, what is freedom to you? Because for me, I can't do my job based on what I know and I need to do this job to do it well, is to know where you're at, where you're coming from, what you need, and how my decisions can provide you and protect your freedoms.
Yeah.
is going to make sure that justice is provided to you regardless of who you are, and that opportunity is there for all. Those rungs on that ladder, anybody can step on. Not just
nice.
straight, white, Catholic males, you know. I don't believe that. I believe that this country, the greatest thing about this country was its vision that we could be that city on the hill, that we could be that place where, like the Quaker said, male or female, you're still seen as equal amongst us. And I think that we have lost that because the power structure of the B, those who are in power are like, holy crap, I can't just already have a leg up because I am this.
I see.
And so for me, I ask people, like, what does it mean? Like, what
sounds like a true representative.
Well, I try.
Which is
do the job the way it's supposed to be, and good things happen. Like I put my head down on my pillow, and I sleep really well because it's an exhausting job. Because you're representing the people and you're doing the state house work, and then because of a 2-year term, you're constantly campaigning. But you're out there so that when it's time to campaign, it's no different than what you're doing when you're doing your job and getting out there in front of people. But it's all the time.
Do you ever...
It's like a teacher, you're on 24/7.
Do you ever feel like your job is pointless to an extent because you're in a super minority? And if they wanted to say, F you, kick sand every single time...
They do. Not every single time, but they do.
Like, how do you... Where's the motivation to keep showing up when you know you're not going to get anything you want?
Because I keep believing that if we do the job like you said, you're like, hey, that sounds like a true representative. If those who have the same views and the same value system and that believe in freedom and justice and opportunity and that believe that we can go to a place where we have a just society for all, then you have to get in there and fight the fight. And you have to be the example, right? You have to be that example so people can see what it means to truly represent in that fashion. Because we could just take our ball and go home and go, okay, you guys run the show. But then there's only one set of ideas. They're in their own echo chamber. What really disappoints me is just in the 8 years I've been down there, and this is my 8th year, so technically 7, that I've been sitting through committees and session, whatever, is the amount of stifling of discussion on any topic.
Oh, they don't even want to hear.
We get shut down as members in a committee. You get one question. You get 2 minutes, and we'll decide whether we're going to give the minority party a follow-up question or not.
Whoa.
Some chairs are running it that way, and then they're ramming in last minute without us giving a chance to read over an amendment. It is not the way the founders intended for debate and open discussion over a topic. So it doesn't surprise me when I see that happening in committee that they want to do it at the collegiate level, that they want to do it at universities, that when they want to do it because they want to shut down dissent against beliefs that they believe are already the only way.
Has it always been this way in Ohio? Like, if you go back to the start of your time, was it still supermajority Republican, superminority?
When I got in there in 18, we were not in the superminority. We were just in the heavy minority. But you know, all that does is the superminority just means that we have less people on committee that can give pushback and different opinion. And then if there's an emergency clause or there's, like veto overrides, we can't stop a veto override because we don't have enough votes unless we can get a couple of Republicans to break ranks. And right now, they will not break rank unless the leadership gives them permission.
I think you already touched on it with the giving people permission to express hate point. I've never heard it said in that way before, and I think that's true. But if so much of what they're doing is not in the best interest of the people they serve, how come then the trend is to give them more power and to just elect them? Like, why would anybody vote in their best against their best interest?
52 changes to voting rights in Ohio.
I read about that. Yeah, like why are people electing?
To make it harder. To make it harder for you to get to the ballot and
Did people
cast
just,
it.
I mean, were they out straight up lying? Were they just omitting? Were they like, if somebody's going to say, I'm going to make it harder for you to vote and have your voice heard, please elect me into a position of power, why does almost 3/4 of the state of Ohio do that?
Because they don't say it to those that are in Ohio. They say, we need these things to stop the people you hate, and just fill in the blank. Whether it be trans, or whether it be gay, or whether it be brown, or whether it be Muslim, or whether it be Buddhist, or those people there are corrupting our votes.
They're going to come for
So
you.
let us pass these laws that are going to make it so that only your vote's going to count and not theirs. And people are like, sounds democratic to me.
Sounds like,
Sounds democratic to me.
dude, that doesn't sound, oh wow, yeah, whoa, that's bad. That
Yes.
sounds like we live in
That's
Saudi
what we're
Arabia
doing.
or something.
So here's the thing. Here's a fun side note for you.
Fear's
Even
a
though I
powerful
do
drug.
this, even though yes, power is a powerful drug. Is medicine, and others
Sorry
would
to
say,
interrupt.
right? No, but that's okay. I when I got elected, everybody's like, so you're going to give up basketball? I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, you're going to stop officiating? Because I officiate high school basketball, varsity boys and girls basketball
is that-
around the area.
I have a
So
question
I
after
put
this.
stripes on with 2 other officials, and we provide the fairest opportunity for the best team on that night, who's playing within the rules,
Yup.
fairly, playing
like-
within the rules,
Uh-huh.
to win,
Politics
or
means
maybe to
something like
lose.
that.
Yeah.
I do ice hockey
So
myself.
ice hockey is whether it be a sport. Here it is, and if you can excel within the rules, you'll win. Republican ideas are only supported right now. The Republican Party and their ideas are probably only supported by 35% of the population. So you're never going to be in power unless you can get 50% plus 1 to vote for you.
Outside the
So therefore, you either have to change the rules,
Okay.
or you have to lie out your ass to the people about what the laws and the bills and what they're doing down in Columbus is actually doing. And I would say they're doing C, all the above. And I watch it, and I get disgusted over it.
Yeah.
And I think what hurts the most is watching people who I think are good people with not bad intentions go along with the power structure that's in place, because power's a drug. And it sure is nice to be a chair of a committee and to feel this sense of power and to be able to tell people, and I get to pull these committees and I get to choose which bill, and I feel like I'm the guy or the gal.
You're just a puppet. at that
Yeah,
point.
well, you are a puppet, and right now that's what's going on in Ohio. Ohio is run by some very, very, very wealthy people and some very, very, very powerful people that are in position in the state of Ohio, and we have to remove them. We have to say we're done as Ohioans. We're done. We want people that are going to put our interests first. It's not happening.
Part of me feels like it'd just be easier to just submit and say like, hey,
Sure.
the people running it are just, they're going to do whatever they want to do. What am I supposed to do? Like, it's always going to be the rich people. Why would they ever cede power? They're not going to, so just give up.
Well, the thing about America is that we've created a government that is supposed to prevent people from getting outside the guardrails. It's rich people. You know, I have a problem, and I'm going to go off on a tangent here, but I have a problem when somebody has enough wealth and thus power. I used to teach
What'd you teach?
so I taught at Firelands High School for most of my, I taught down in Texas for a couple of years and coached down there as well. But, and then I also taught political science and U.S. history at, through the college. Ooh. And then after I took this job, I stopped teaching because you can't do both at the high school. And I just taught some of the political science, American National Government course. And then I left that because this job is very extensive. And if you want to do this right, you have to give it your all. And I always believe, like, give it your all. Mm-hmm. And so anyway, short of it is, I always told my students, I'm like, listen, here's Joe Miller, Mr. Miller's power equation. And I would talk about, wealth and laws and strength and, influence. And these were the pillars, and these create power. And you can have power of strength, you can have power of wealth, you can have power of influence. Mm-hmm. and you can have power of law, where you can use laws and rules and those that enforce it to inflict or to get somebody to do something that you want. I can use money. I can be like, hey, here's $1,000. Will you do this? You'll be like, yeah. You'll be like, yeah. Sure. I may be able to stick your arm behind your back and force you to the ground and say, submit. And you're like, yep, that's power. Sure. And then, there's power of influence. Like, hey, you want to be my friend? I'm the coolest person on the block. Then I need you to do this. Oh, okay, I'll go do it. So you have influence. And finally, like, hey, I'm the person that writes and enforces and whatever the laws, and I have power in that way. Whatever it may be, the founders believe that you need to separate that power. You need to split that up.
Yeah.
And the problem is we're not doing that right now. And not only do you have to split power up, you have to be able to check it. Meaning that one set of power is not more than the other. And so, for example, you could have all the strength in the military you want, but if you don't have money to feed the army and to equip the army, then that army is no longer as strong. So the check is the power. The other check is the laws and the rules written around how the army can act. So these are all ways to do it. We have right now people in this country, and we have a couple in this state, and I hear one of them's a big fan of Epstein Island, but we have billionaires in America that could get rid of me and nobody would ever know it came from them. They have the amount of money to get rid of an American citizen and put enough people and money between them to never be held accountable for taking away the life of a person, which is truly un-American.
That's
without due process. You took their life, just like we saw in Minnesota. Without due process, you took a woman's life.
Yeah.
And
that's scary.
And so it is scary. How did we get to that point? Ronald Reagan's like, hey, we're taking these taxes and we're going to smash them. And in Ohio, because we believe so much in investing in our youth and education and other things, we have not in HB 96, our operating budget, reinvested in the students and workforce and things like that. We set aside money for billionaires and cut the taxes on the highest income earners in Ohio.
Yeah.
That's the priority of Ohio right now.
It's not. It's the priority of the people who allow the hate to spread.
Yes. And who's in power. And guess what? They're in power because the wealthy have put them there.
Yeah, that's messed up.
And those who come up and get there in that Republican Party, a lot of them, they don't agree with it. But then they just get, it's like, I became part of the team. This is the team culture. I really wasn't a person who would cheat, but I came to a company that said, this is how we can make our money and bonuses and commission. And if we cheat to do it, and you just go, well, you know what? I'm going to go along, get along, and it keeps me in power. I can remove you from power if you don't go along with what we ask. And so we have a lot of representatives and senators and leaders in Ohio that have decided that they would rather be in power than do the true will of the people and follow the fundamental freedoms and opportunities and provide justice in a fair and equitable way like was intended. And they're willing to dismiss that, forget about that, walk away from that so that they can remain in power, so that they can be part of that. And that's disgusting.
It is. Yeah, it is disgusting. It's a shame.
It is a shame. It's disgusting. So that's where we're at in Ohio. Welcome to Ohio, the heart of it all.
Well, okay, last thing that we'll talk about then, hopefully end on a somewhat brighter note than the destruction of the fabrics.
Yeah.
Are you aware that Ohio is a meme?
I would love to hear about this. Go, share, please share.
Like, have you ever heard the phrase, like, Skibbity, Ohio? Or, like, you couldn't even riz up Livy Dunn if you were in Ohio? Or, like...
No. So explain how that works.
Oh, okay.
So now I am starting to feel a little old and out of it. But go ahead.
I guess, yeah. Maybe
This is why I love teaching, because I could learn so much from the youth of the day.
I don't think maybe nobody your age would know, but nationwide, like all of America sees Ohio as what we would call NPC coded, which is, NPC is? A non-plot character. So in a video game, you would have who you play as, and then the people unrelated to missions or quests, like the merchant that just says a line of dialogue.
Right.
So the
NPC, I have heard of that before. Okay.
You guys are the brunt of the joke, which is that Ohio as a state is like vanilla ice cream.
Oh, that is funny.
That's like
it's sad, but it's funny in a way that
it's almost like you guys are the brunt of the joke because there's nothing to joke about here.
Yeah.
And I didn't know
Interesting.
if people in Ohio knew that you guys.
I'm sure there are.
It's like that's like the whole thing is like go move to Ohio. Like Florida man, the Florida man is the crazy guy. Ohio is like just. It's here. It's like literal, like you said. It's like white Christian people.
Yep. Here it is.
9 million of them.
Yeah, just hanging out, making life miserable for others. Well, our biggest export is, our youth. They just leave. Oh. Why wouldn't you? Why would you stay?
It's because,
if you saw all this going on, and every day in Ohio, this is the crap that you got to hear about.
That's true.
Why would you want to be here?
That's true.
Why would you want to, I'm going to raise a family here with all this turmoil. I want to do it. Why would you do it?
Where are people going? Because in almost every state I talk to people in, they all tell me that one of their problems is that the kids are leaving. Like in Wyoming, everybody's leaving. In Nebraska, all the kids are leaving. Here in Ohio, I guess everybody's leaving.
What's the pattern between those three states?
Majority red. But, I mean, Texas, everybody's moving into Texas and South Carolina. And
Austin, which is a very blue, liberal, artsy. Austin's beautiful, and it's very liberal, and it's got a great entertainment art scene.
But then at the same time, there's an exodus from like the bluest state, California, from New York City, because they're too expensive. So we got to balance all that stuff.
Well, I would agree with that. And guess what's happening to Nevada? And Nevada's kind of an interesting story because the labor made it blue in the 70s, 60s, 70s, and then it went red for a little while. Well, a lot of California is coming into the outskirts of Vegas, Arizona, and guess what those states are doing? They're turning blue. Guess what's happening in North Carolina? I mean, as red a state as you get, it is becoming blue because they're moving for the weather, and the wealthy are moving to a place where, okay, North Carolina taxes are lower, and it's warmer, and if we can put up with the hurricanes, we're fine. Mm-hmm. But I'm seeing in Georgia, how about that? Georgia's another great example. That state's becoming blue.
Yeah, it is. Well,
Georgia, if you go back, and I was a history teacher, you go back in Georgia, the stories and the history behind Georgia is not liberal and blue.
True.
So that's what they're doing. They're moving. They're keeping their fundamental values and beliefs about freedom and how we should have a just society, but they're just taking them to a different state. And all they're leaving in Ohio
are the conservative supermajority that's growing.
Who've got a grievance about
everybody else.
Yeah, about how bad off things are, and they're blaming it on others.
Interesting.
How about me be more opening and welcoming and
You think? I mean, I don't know.
I'll take tax. Hey, listen, I was in martial arts. I'd fight in tournaments. I was in a family of 5 where boys were always fighting. We did sports in the neighborhood. We'd play sports, get mad, fight, and then go back to playing sports. I mean, that's just how I grew up. Mm-hmm. But I would today, there is no doubt in my mind that I would rather have toxic empathy than toxic masculinity because it's just out of control.
All right, we gotta leave it there.
I think we can be in a better time, in a better world.
Representative Miller, thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely good to be here. I appreciate your time.